Okay, welcome to our fourth video about guitar synthesizers. And in this video, we're going to talk about the GM800. We're going to talk about the things that it does that no other guitar synth can do. And we're going to talk about tone expansion, and we're going to talk about using it as a Midi controller. So let's go ahead and dive in right now. Okay, so I have the Boss GM800 plugged into the computer. If we go down here to our Start button, right-click and go up to Device Manager. You can see under audio inputs and outputs, you can see here's our GK pickup section, and here is the GM800. So I'm going to assume that you have already did the firmware update. You should be on firmware 1.03, that you've already downloaded the drivers and you've installed the drivers, and that you've already installed Tone Studio on your computer. Now, if you need any help with this, the video I did before this, actually 2 videos ago, walks you through how to do this step by step, so we're not going to cover it here. I'm also going to assume that you have registered your GM800, which allows you to set up an account with the Roland Cloud. And this is how you're going to add sounds to the GM800. So you're going to actually add tones by setting up an account and downloading Roland Cloud. I'm going to also assume you have done that, and we're not going to cover that here in this video. But what we are going to do in this video is we're going to have some fun. I'm going to show you all the cool things that the GM800 can do that the other synths just can't do. Okay, so we're going to start by going over to the GR55 so I can kind of lay the groundwork here of what's going on. So in the GR55 floorboard software program, which we covered in the last video, you see we have PCM synth, and we have 2 of these in a patch. You can turn the synth on and off, okay? But what we need to pay attention to is over here. It has our synth tone. So we can choose our tone right here, right? So if we look, starting with acoustic piano, and we go all the way down. Come on. Oh, it's not cooperating. Come on. And we're just going to grab this thing and go all the way down. There we go. And you can see we have a total of 910 tones that we can choose from. Okay, so that's 910 tones. And so we have 2 synths that we could use. And we have 910 tones that we can choose from for each synth. So we can have different tones in each one of these. Then under here, we have our electric guitar modeling. So if we click on this, you can see we can either do an electric guitar, and here's the various types of electric guitar, right? Or we could do an acoustic guitar, and here's the various types of acoustic guitars. Or we could do the electric bass, or we could do a synth, like an analog synth. This is not based on the PCM modeling, which is basically a sampling type of a keyboard, okay? So whenever you see PCM, it's like a sampling keyboard. It's not really an analog synth, okay? So, and then after that, we have another section where we can set up our normal pickups, and we can combine our normal pickups with our guitar modeling and 2 synths to make a patch or a preset. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the improvements or lack thereof in the Boss Tone Studio. We're going to start by opening it up. Okay, so now the Tone Studio is opened up, and you can see that instead of having 2 synths, it actually has 4 synths. But it doesn't have any of the guitar modeling or the analog synth or the ability to use your standard pickups. So instead of having 4 parts that are 2 synths and a guitar modeling section, it has 4 synthesizers layered, and then it has a place to install a drum kit, so you can use a drum kit as well. Now, these over here are called scenes. And basically a scene is a combination of these that are set up. Now, they're called scenes because Boss decided to make this a lot more confusing. And so they take what should be patch or preset, and they're calling it a scene, just to make that learning curve a little bit steeper. Now, if I say patch or preset accidentally in this video, I am actually talking about scenes, just so that you know. Can't make anything easy, can they? But if you look down here, we have 100 factory scenes. Then after that, we have ones that you can create. rooms for ones that you can create. Okay, and there are 50 of those. Okay, so you can actually have a slot for 150 different scenes that you can make, because you can copy any of the factory presets to any location you want. So for example, Discovery Synth. Okay, we can take that. I'm going to switch over here to Discovery Synth, and then we can go ahead and write that. And we're going to write that to location 86, which is big dreamy synth. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and do write. So you can see that Discovery Synth is now copied over to 86. So we have 85 and 86 are Discovery Synth. So what this basically means is that you have 150 places that you can make your own scenes. So if you're unhappy with the factory scenes, you can create your own scenes in 150 locations. Now on the GR55, you can only put 100 of your patches or presets in there. But now you can use all 150 locations for your scenes or anything that you create, which is kind of a cool thing. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to make the Boss GM800 a MIDI controller. Right now we are on the sweep string patch, and if I play, you can see there is sweep strings. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down to a blank section, not really a blank section, but a default blank patch that you can use to make your own scene, and we're going to load a 101 initial scene, I guess. What we're going to do is we're going to make this a MIDI controller, but before we do, I'm going to explain some things. So this boss right here, this bar on the top, these contain all of your global settings. So when you hit menu right here, these are your global settings up here. So if I select GK setting, for example, you can see I am using the PZO-L type pickup. And right now it says GK set 1, okay? And I'm using my Godin guitar, and then these are my settings for my sensitivity. Now if you want to, we got our profile right here. We can go ahead and name that if we want. And we're gonna go back and name this Godin. There we go, right? So there is the profile for the Godin guitar. It says PZO-L because I'm using the LR Bragg pickup. And so now what we're going to do is show another setting here. We have our play option. And this is basically the range of the scenes you want to go in. So all of these are global settings. They affect the GM800 globally, which basically means every scene is affected by the settings in this section. When you go underneath the bar, you'll see the name of the scene right here, and everything to the right are settings that only affect this scene. So if I go over here to where it says master, and I click on that, you'll see under here I have something called play feel. And if you're having problems with the way the scene is responding to your pickup, you can adjust the play feel setting. Let's say you want to go up to, say, 4. Close this out. Now I have a 4 play feel setting set up in the master section, but this is not a global setting. Now you would think that this would be a global setting because it says master on it, but it's the master setting for this scene right here. So this is not a global section, okay? So we're going to save this and rename it, but before we do, you can see Warm TB Saw, that's the patch that's loaded here. Now, because we're using this as a MIDI controller, we don't want that sound in the background, so we're going to go ahead and turn that off. We're going to go over here to write, and we're going to write this, and we're going to call this MIDI controller. And now we're going to write. So now, anytime I want to use the GM800 as a MIDI controller, all I have to do is call up patch or scene or whatever you want to call this thing, MIDI controller 101, and I'll be set up to go. The one other thing I want to show you, we're going to change to the initial scene right here, and that's going to load. And notice when we click on master and we go down to the play feel setting, notice that it's on 2. 2 is the default play feel setting for all of the scenes. If I go back to MIDI controller, remember we saved this, Click on master, notice it's at 4. So it'll remember the play feel setting for each scene. So the play feel can only be adjusted on each scene. It cannot be adjusted globally, and it cannot be attached to a pickup profile, okay? So we've discussed this, but people disagreed with me, but I've just showed you that that's the way it works. Okay, so now we're gonna go over here to, actually, let's go back to master, and we're gonna change this back to 2. Now, if you're using this as a MIDI controller and you're having problems with the tracking, come back into play feel setting and you can adjust that right there. And we're gonna hit right one more time. Okay, so there we go. Now we have our MIDI controller patch set up, but we don't have the MIDI controller turned on. To do that, we have to go up to where it says menu, click on that, and you'll see MIDI settings right here, okay? And then there's various MIDI settings that you can control. The only thing you need to be concerned with is guitar to MIDI. It says on off. What we're gonna do is go over here and we're gonna turn this on. Now what we've done is we turned on the MIDI controller function. Okay, so now we can use the M800 as a MIDI controller. And we're going to go ahead and get out of that. And then we're going to go ahead and shrink this down. Good. So now that we have set up for a MIDI controller, what we're going to do is we're going to go over to a third-party plugin of some sort. Oh, let's use Addictive Keys. Oh, that's Addictive Drums. Addictive Keys is the one underneath. Sorry about that. Okay, Addictive Keys is now open, but we need to set it up. So we're going to go over here to Audio and Video Settings. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on my pod here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Line 6 pod live as an audio interface. And I'm going to use the GM800 as a MIDI controller. So now that this is on, I'm going to go ahead and choose Audio MIDI Settings. And you can see that the ASIO is selected and we don't have any device. You can select the type of device in here. And then we're going to go to our pod. Now that's going to be our MIDI controller. We're going to test it out, see if we can hear it. There it is. Okay. Next, down here we select what we want to use as a MIDI controller, and we have selected the GM800. So now we have everything working. And now if we play something on here, it should be the Addictive Keys program. There's our piano right there, okay? So in this particular program, we can go to Explore, and it breaks all the pianos down, and you can kind of sample each one. Okay, so you can sample these programs. And then each one of these is a different setting for the piano, different miking techniques, and that kind of stuff. So we'll go to the Studio Grand, and we'll use that one. You can see as I play. As you can hear for yourself, we can use the guitar as a MIDI controller. I couldn't do that with the SY1000 and the GR55. Now I did get those devices to work as a MIDI controller while I was testing everything out, but the biggest problem was latency. They just didn't have the computer power to be a MIDI controller, but the GM800 does. So now I can use my guitar to control software synthesizers. And let me tell you, this changes the game. So the really cool part about using the GM800 as a MIDI controller is that there are a lot of synths you can download for free. Let me give you an example here. We're going to go down here, and I'm going to open up this Firefox. And the first one that comes up that you can see is this piano. And it's a pretty decent piano. absolutely free. Versillion Studios. Okay, and these are the same guys that did Project Sam, which is a chamber orchestra. Guess what? Free version. Really cool. The free versions are great. So here's our free one, and you can see kind of the aspects of it all. And if you want to spend some money and get some more of the samples, that's good. But the free version is really cool. You can just go download it and play all these instruments. And it's just amazing how they've recorded all of these. And just use your guitar to control it. Now another one, and this is called Project Sam, by the way. So the Symphonic Orchestra is another free version. They've taken some of the Project Sam stuff and then they added to it. And it's some really great orchestras in here that you can download, and gives you an idea of all the stuff that's free, absolutely free. You get 16 violins, 12-second violins, 11 violas. I mean, it's just amazing all the stuff that you can choose from. And then you can get something like Sample Sound. This is a free plugin, and you have a guitar and a bass. Now, I don't use this because I'm a guitar and a bass player, but you can get these and you can experiment with them if you want to. Then we have Decent Samples, which is another free sampler, and you can download free stuff to play. Here's a mandolin. Some things cost money, but some things are absolutely free, and you can go through and download all the free stuff and use it in your Decent Samples. Okay, so then we have the BBC Symphonic Orchestra, and this is really good. Allow cookies. And we're not going to download right now, but this is really good. It's amazing. 0. See, add to cart. So you can kind of hear the samples of what you will get, and it's just an amazing piece of software. I can't believe it's free, but it is free. So this is by Spitfire Audio. Great company. They have other free things you can try, and they do this to promote the things they sell for money. Then Orchestral Tools, Sign Factory. Now this is really good stuff. A lot of these are free. And again, you download the player, then you download all the stuff that goes inside the player. There's some things you can pay for, but you get an idea of all the stuff they give you for free. And the cool thing is that you can use a GM 800 to control all of this stuff. Now, if you want even more than this, then my suggestion is to go to my website. My website has a list of all the free stuff that you can get. And it's just kind of all listed right here. So here's some of the websites that we've covered. Okay, and this is just the instruments. Okay, and then if you go up, and we're going to go all the way up to the top. Let's probably do this. There we go. And go to synthesizer. So these are synthesizers that you can get for free. And Vital is probably the best one on this page, really good. Odin 2, another great free synth. Surge XT, another great free synth. OBXT, another great free synth. This is also great. There's so many. Dext is a Yamaha DX7, basically. Modeled after the Yamaha DX7. It was probably the most popular keyboard in the 1980s. A lot of iconic 80s sounds here. Then this is modeled after the Red Synth. And then we have Zebraletti. So you'll have some really great synths here that you can get. Everything here is free. And so I would say go download some synthesizers, go download some Midi instruments, plug the GM800 into the computer after you get these things installed, and have some fun. The links are going to be in the video description. So I tried to put together a list of the best software synths that are available for free, and I put that on my website. Now, if you think I've missed one, leave that software synth in the comment section so that other people can have access to it. basically free ones is what we're looking for. Also paid ones. If there are some paid ones that you think are really great, leave a link in the comment section so that people can go and check them out. Now, I have a list of the most popular ones that are paid for, but they're not on my website. So I'll show you that now. And the first one is Omnisphere. This is really a popular one. It has a lot of features, and there's a lot of sounds. And this is probably one of the most popular paid for products out there that keyboardists use. Now the next one is the Korg products. Now, we know Korg as a keyboard manufacturer, but they've taken their keyboards and made software versions of it. I've had the Triton, and I had the Triton Extreme, and I just sold the Triton Extreme. I just have one keyboard left now, but this is an exact replica of the Triton keyboard. And the sounds that are in here are exactly the sounds you find on the Triton. Now, the same people that worked on the Triton keyboards worked on this software as well. So you're going to find a lot of the same sounds are in here. Now, this is $250 for this, but for $400, you can buy all of the Korg keyboards. Here's the Triton Extreme below the Triton. Here's all their analog stuff. Then you have the M1 series. So as you scroll down, you can see their collection of keyboards right here that you can get. So this collection is $400 if you just want the individual Triton and the Triton Extreme keyboard, which some of the best stuff I think Korg has ever put out sound-wise. That's going to be $250. But if you want the entire collection, it's $400. It's better than going out and buying all of these things. I just sold my Triton Extreme keyboard, for $800. So I'm going to use that money to buy the plugin, and I'll have some extra money left. So the next one is the UVI workstation. This is another popular system of MIDI instruments that you can buy. You get the player, and then you insert your MIDI instruments inside of the player. And the player is basically free, and maybe they give you a couple of free things with it. But people will buy these players, and they buy the MIDI synthesizers and stick them inside of this. This is a popular one. Another one is Contact Player, which is right here actually. So Contact 7 is the latest one. This is probably one of the most popular ones out there. And this player has a lot of different software synthesizers that fit inside of it. Really a popular player. I have the free version of it, and I have some of the instruments, and it's just pretty good. But there's a free version of some of this stuff that you can get. Sample Tank is another free version, but I have beyond the free version. I have software synths that I purchased for this one, and this is another popular player that you can get for software synths. And so what we'll do is I'll call up Sample Tank now. So we'll go ahead and close this out. Here's Sample Tank 4. We're going to go ahead and turn this on. So when Sample Tank 4 comes up, you can see here's a basic player. Now if I play something, it doesn't register because I have to go and set everything up. Usually you look for a sprocket, which is right here, and then you can register everything. Right now we're on Windows Audio. Yuck. Okay, we're going to get out of that. We're going to go to ASIO, and then from there we'll set up our pod as our player. Left channel. So this is our buffer size. This panel will call up the pod if we want to adjust anything in our rack mount pod. We're going to leave it like it is. And our MIDI input. So we're going to click down here and go to the GM800. Now, I can use the GM800 as well. I can go over here and I can click on the GM800. And now the GM800 is being used as a audio interface and a MIDI controller. I've noticed better results when I have a separate audio interface. For some reason, it seems spot on. There's not enough latency where you're really gonna notice a difference, but there is a little bit. So that's why I'll just use this as a MIDI controller along with the a different audio interface. So now when I play something, you can see that it will register here in the keys, right here. You see how quick that... Okay, so now let's load an instrument. So we're going to go over here and load an instrument. And let's see, what shall we use? Let's go to, well, all kinds of stuff we can use. Let's go up to sample tank 3. Let's load something from sample tank 3. And let's do some, there's a 12-string, violins. Let's do this one, I guess. I'm just picking. Okay, now the sound is loaded. You can see the section where we have to play. All right, so let's go ahead and close this out. So here's our instrument that we've just loaded. And if I play something, right? Okay. So that's sample tank. You can load all of these instruments going all the way down. You can combine them together. It's got a built-in recorder and sequencer and that kind of stuff. And there's a lot to choose from. There's actually a lot of really good instruments in here. Great pianos too. So that's sample tank. So the cool thing is the ability to use our GM800 as a MIDI controller. Okay, so in addition of using the Boss GM800 as a standalone MIDI controller, we can also use it as a MIDI controller inside our DAW applications, and I'm going to give you an example of that right now. But before we do that, we got to make sure that we are on our MIDI controller scene, okay? And we have to make sure that the MIDI setting is turned on. And once you get this situated, then you can close out the software program. You don't really need it open for anything. And what we're going to do now is open up Cakewalk by BandLab, and this is going to be our example. We're going to use Cakewalk as our DAW. Now this will work inside Reaper, Cubase, Ableton, Studio One, whatever you're using, the same process. Maybe the settings will be in different locations, but it's the same process. So we're going to close out the welcome screen, and we're going to go over to Edit and go to Preferences, and here where you see in our audio interface section, we're using the Pod X3 as our audio interface just for this example. Okay, and we're going to go down to Devices. Now in Devices, here's all of the MIDI controllers, and what you want to select is the GM800. You don't want DAW control, you want the GM800, okay? And so we're going to use it as a MIDI controller, not a DAW controller, okay? And then if we go down to Instruments, you can see there's nothing listed, but if we go down here and hit Apply, you'll see all the MIDI controller settings are added. So we have our devices selected. The next thing we need to do is make a control surface. We're going to go down to the control surface and just kind of click the yellow icon to add a simple active MIDI controller. That's all we're really doing here. Click OK, and there we are. We're going to apply it one more time and then close out. So the next thing we need to do is test this out. So we're going to go over here to File, and we're going to go down to New. Let's open up a new project, and we're just going to do an empty project, just a basic project here, and we have it already opened up, as you can see. So we're going to go over here to where our list of software synths are, and let's open up a piano. Which piano shall we use? Let's use Lizard Lounge, and we're just doing a simple instrument track. And there it is. So we're just going to pull this down a little bit, and we click on this to open up our software synth, and you can see that here it is. Okay, and then we should be able to play it right here. So as you can see, so here's our software synth. So what we're going to do is kind of close this out. We see that it's working. We're going to arm this for recording. Let's go ahead and record something. Okay, so now let's check out our recording. Okay, so now it's time to expand our tone collection, and we're going to begin by going down to our Tone Studio. And you can see we're just set up for our MIDI controller. We're going to go over here to Menu. Then we're going to go down to our MIDI settings, and we're just going to turn off our MIDI controller function. So now we are, we have shut off the MIDI controller function. We're going to go to scene 102. And now we have just a basic scene loaded here, and you can hear it right here. Okay, so there's our basic scene. Now, there are no free tones and no free sounds. Now, I know that there are lots of comments and lots of videos out there that say there's free tones and sounds, but there are none. What is free is scenes. There are some free scenes that you can get, and those scenes basically use the factory tones that are installed on your GM800. So if we go over here to the librarian, when we create our scenes, we can store them here in the librarian. If we go to Tone Central, here you're going to see a collection of free scenes, and they're divided up in packages. So this first one, GM800 Mono Lead, that's the name of this package. If we want to add that to our library, we just go over here and click on Add. And then, okay. And then here's another collection. This is the GM800 Extra Collection of Motion. We're just going to go ahead and click Add there. And then here's another collection. We're just going to hit Add. Same thing, going all the way across. Okay. And here's Synth Bass. We're going to add that collection as well. We don't have to add these. I mean, if we can click on this, I'll show you here. Here's a GM800 collection called Split, and here we have an EPL bass. Okay, so if I were to click on this EPL bass, okay, or click here maybe, and then go over here to Editor, you see EPL bass is added. Okay, so if I play this, you can hear it. Pretty cool, right? But these are tones that are already in your GM800. So there's no new sounds or tones. This is just a new scene. And if I want to save it, all I would have to do is hit right. But maybe I want to edit this. So here's our bass part, right? And we'll click on Edit there. And let's see, let's go over to strings. And you can see that the string mute is on except for the low one. Maybe I want this string here to be a bass. So all I gotta do is take and turn this off. I'll use the mouse wheel, which is kind of, come on, stop it. Okay, good. There we go. So okay, I want to save that. So we're going to close that out, and we're going to write this. So now we just saved this EP tone right here, okay? So now if we go over to Librarian, see all the packs that we added are listed here. So let's go over to Tone Central, and we're gonna also add this collection right here. Just click Add. Okay, and finally, the next thing we can add are all the factory presets. And here are all the factory presets. All we have to do is click on Add. So now when we go back to the librarian, you could see here are the factory presets, and here are the additional scenes that are free. This is all that's free. You're not getting any free tones. Okay, so the cool thing about this is that you can use any number in here, and you can copy any of these scenes into any number you want, or you can customize all 150 scenes to accommodate any kind of customization or any kind of custom scene that you make, okay? So that's about all you get with this that's free. So we're gonna go ahead and close this out right now because we don't really need it for the time being. What we need to do is format a thumb drive so we can get some free scenes. So let's go ahead and do that right now. Okay, so the first thing we need to do to add sounds to the Boss GM800 is to get a thumb drive. I would recommend getting a dedicated thumb drive that you can use specifically for the GM800. So you can back up your data from the GM800 onto this thumb drive, and you can also do firmware updates with this thumb drive. First thing we're going to have to do is turn this off, because you never want to insert the thumb drive with the thing plugged in. So what you're going to have to do is come back here like so, put the thumb drive in, and turn it on again. Wait for it to boot up. Okay, once it's booted up, you're going to go over here to Menu, and then you're going to use the page buttons, and you're going to go over, and you're going to go over one more. Then you're going to see USB memory and factory reset. Okay, so click on USB memory. You can go over here to page again, go over and format. So you're going to make a special format for this thumb drive. And this is just going to be for our GM800. That's all this thumb drive is going to be used for. Click OK. And now it's formatting. Okay, so now we're done formatting. And we're just going to exit out of all of this. And then we're going to turn off the GM800. And then we're going to pull the thumb drive out. Never pull the thumb drive out while the GM800 is turned on. Now we're going to go to the computer and add some sounds to this thing. Okay, now we have our thumb drive formatted and inserted into the computer. What we're going to do now is go to the Roland Cloud. So we're going to go down here, hit the Start button, and we're going to find the Roland Cloud. In here, we're just going to open it up. Let's see. Alphabetical order, right? Roland Cloud, here we go. Start to Roland Cloud. And there it is. We're going to go ahead and blow this up. So the way this works is pretty simple. You can download expansion packs, which is what these things are, or you can download sound packs, which is what these are down here. Now this says that this is a wave expansion, and these packs are tied to instruments and hardware. Here's hardware instruments over here. So these are keyboards basically, and you can get different packets depending what you have. Here's a synthesizer, so depending on what synthesizer you have, you can get different types of packs for whatever synthesizer you own. Okay, and then there's software instruments as well, so you can download Roland software instruments. The Zenology Lite is free. It's the only thing free on this site that you can get. So let's go back to our hardware instrument, and we can use a filter. And we're going to go over here to where it says View Filter, and that turns the filter on. And what we're going to do is we're going to leave guitar and bass checked, but aria, dance, drums and percussion, pianos, wind instruments, and synthesizers we're going to turn off. When we go back, you're going to see that we're going to turn the filter on by that little button, and now all we see is the GM800. Everything else is filtered out. And so we can go back and forth from software instruments to hardware instruments. So these are all the things that you can download for the GM800, and there's different prices here. So you can see that these sound packs are about $4.99, $5, and they have about 20 to 40 tones depending on the pack. And you scroll down further, and some of the more pricey ones are at the bottom for $10. And you can scroll back up, and then we get into these expansion packs. Now these packs will fit into those I&I sections, you know, from 1247 to 1502. That's where all of these packs fit in, okay? Over here are expansion packs, and that actually increases the number of tones you have on your instrument. So if you want to hear what some of these sound like, you just kind of hover over, and it should play it. Change this. Or you can click on More Info, and then you can play the WAV files if you want to. So here are the WAV files. Okay. Now what you want to pay attention to is how many tones you get. So these are 18 waveforms that have 11 tones. So that is this piano stage, piano 1. Okay, so this is one pack. Okay, so stage piano 2 is similar. Okay, but you don't get a whole lot of instruments with these. I think you're better off getting something like the complete piano. And if you click on more information on this, you can see if we scroll down. Now in this particular package, this includes 42 tones with 40 waveforms. So this is more of a complete package, I think. So you have to really look and see how many tones you get with each package. For example, the orchestra. Okay, you click on more info here, and the orchestra comes with 512 waveforms, 449 tones. So this is a good overall package because it includes some other types of tones. In other words, here in the orchestra, you're going to get some brass, and you're going to get some strings, and so you might want to skip the symphonic strings if you're going to get the orchestra. These are about 19 bucks each. Okay, and you'll have brass here, but you also have brass in the orchestra. So in the symphonic strings, if I click on that, you'll see that there are approximately 128 tones and 196 waveforms. Now I have both of these, and I can tell you that the strings in the symphonic strings are different than the strings in the orchestra. So they're actually different types of samples. So I've tested a lot of these, and they're pretty cool. They're pretty good. Now, you have up here the option of what you own and what's not owned. So if you click on not owned, these are all the ones that you haven't purchased. And if you click on owned, these are the ones that I've purchased. And to download them, all I would have to do is click on this arrow. Now I've already downloaded all of these. And I don't want to download them again because I don't know how many times a Rolling Cloud is going to allow me to download these things. But these are all the ones that I have purchased. So if I close this out and I go to the Windows Explorer, and I'll go into downloads, and I'll go into my GM800, and here you can see all the folders of all the tones that I've purchased. Okay, so what you'll see here, these are the expansion packs, and they end, we'll call up Studio here, they end in a .exe. Over here, these are the sound packs, and sound packs end in a .sdz. And what you want to do is you want to copy these onto your thumb drive. So here is the Roland drive right down here, GM800. Okay, if I click on this, you can see I've already copied the sound packs into the top directory. So actually, I've copied the expansion packs into the top directory. All the expansion packs have to be in the top directory in order for the GM800 to see them. Now there are subdirectories down here. You see GM800, this is where you back up your system, and this is where you will save scenes and that kind of thing. Then over here, sound, where it says sound, this is where your sound packs go, okay? So copy your sound packs with .sdz into here, and copy your expansion packs into the top directory right here. So now that we have these packs copied onto the thumb drive, all we got to do is eject a thumb drive, and then we're going to go ahead and install this into the GM800. So now it's time to install the sounds that we've downloaded from the Roland Cloud, and we're going to go ahead and plug our thumb drive in and turn on our GM800, and it'll boot up. Okay, now that it's booted up, it's a simple matter of going over to menu and then paging over again, and then we have our USB memory. Click on that, and there's our options. Now remember, to come over here, we formatted, but we're going to go back here. So this knob is going to install the expansion packs, and this will import the tone. Let's go ahead and import a tone real quick. So there's the tones that we've downloaded, and let's go ahead and use this to select Dream Guitar, and then we'll just hit right, and it's going to start installing the tone from here. So we have to select a tone. So it's a matter of the first tone, then we scroll down to the second tone right here and click on that, and it's automatically going to assign it to a number. You can change this, and you can pick out what tones you want to install, what tones you don't want to install, and all the tones that we've downloaded from this pack, which is only $4, or $5 are going to go in those tones that are I and I. We had those blank sections of tones, so we're going to fill up to 1253. Then we hit right, and it says, "Are you sure? Okay. Are you sure? Okay." And now it's writing the tones, importing the tones actually. Complete. Okay. So we're going to go exit. If we want, we can install some of these other tones, but we'll do that later. Now, let's go back. This time I'm going to install an expansion pack. So we click on number 4, and it says empty. So we click on the install, which is the number 4 knob, and these are the expansion packs that we've downloaded. And let's go ahead and choose piano. I'm going to hit right. Okay. Now it's executing. Okay, so now it's completed. So we're going to hit OK, and we can see our completed piano expansion pack installed. We can uninstall it too, as well as installing it. We're going to install another one. Click on that, and let's go to, let's see which one we want to do. Let's do the orchestra one. We'll go hit right and OK. At this stage of the game, I have 4 expansion packs installed here. I have the completed piano, the symphonic orchestra strings, the orchestra, and the studio sounds. Now this gives me an additional somewhere around 800, 900 expanded tones here. Now if I want to install another one, I click on install. Let's choose, let's do a small one here. Let's do classic EP. If I go to write it, it says this: install expansion pack. I hit OK, and it says expansion memory full, and I hit OK. I can only install 4 at a time. That's it. If I want to install another expansion pack, I have to uninstall one of the 4 that I have purchased. So I wish I would have known that going in. Maybe I wouldn't have purchased so many expansion packs, because you use these tones to make scenes. So if you install a bunch of expansion packs and you make scenes, but then you trade out your expansion packs, your scenes aren't really going to work very well because all of your sounds have changed. So that's, you know, kind of a bummer. I didn't know that. But if you exit out of this and we go to import tone, this is the sounds packs that you can buy. I was able to install all of those, and I have room for more. So I have installed 6 sound packs, but I'm limited to about 4 expansion packs. So I would say choose wisely. Okay, so now we have downloaded all of our tones into the GM800. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up Tone Studio here. We're on our EP electric bass, one of the free scenes that you get with Boss Tone Studio. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go over to, let's pick a piano one. And we're going to go all the way down to Piano Symphony. There we go. And what we're going to do is we're going to explore the tones we just installed on this thing. So we have what? Okay, we're going to turn off weird strings. And I don't know how to pronounce this. Dulce strings, I guess. Just have the piano. Okay, so what we're going to do is go over to Tone Browser, and I'm going to show you what we just installed here. Right now, we have the acoustic piano. Acoustic piano is loaded over here. So as you can see, now we have some stuff that's over in this section. This is what we've loaded. So if we click on User, okay, these are all the sound packs that we've loaded onto the thing, okay? So if you can see the initial tone, these are where the sound packs go. We have some blank spaces. So if I wanted to, I could buy some more sound packs and stick them in there. But the ones that I've purchased are right up in here. There's about 6 of them. You get about maybe 10, 20 of these in a deal. Let's see. Let's try one of these. $12.49 we're going to try. Well, you have to kind of let the chord ring out to see what it really does, I guess, in some of these. Time and space, what does that do? A little bit different. So these are the sound packs. Now when I click on wave, we are on wave expansions now. If I take this slider here and go all the way down, you can see we have a total of 2,249 places for tones now. So we have all these tones that we've added, and we have the studio, the orchestra, the symphonic strings, and the compilation piano installed here. So we're going to go check some of these out. But I want to point out a couple different things first. If I go over here to acoustic piano and scroll down, you can see listed here are the compilation strings, or compilation piano is listed in with the acoustic piano. So you can detail what you're looking for simply by clicking on some of these deals. And what we're going to do is go over here to this expansion pack here, and here's all the pianos that we have. Okay, so we've seen the piano that came with this patch. Actually, that's not it. But anyway, that doesn't matter. We're going to switch on Superb Grand. We'll try that one. Give that one a shot, see what that sounds like. I'm going to go through some of these grand pianos and see if you like the sound of them or if they sound like a grand piano. Try another one. Another one. Try Superior Grand, see what that sounds like. What's interesting is that all these grand pianos, you don't get any grand pianos with this thing, but when you buy some of the compilation piano and some of the other packs, you'll get a grand piano. So that's something extra you have to buy. But the acoustic piano in here sounds okay. The grand pianos, I think, sound a little bit better. There's some notable patches in here, though, I want to point out. One of them is Pentaduo, I guess. I really like this one. What it is basically a fifth. So if I play this A note right here, I'm getting 2 piano notes at the same time. I'm getting the A, and I'm getting the fifth higher. So I'm getting the A and the E. It's great over pentatonic scales. Sounds great when you play chords too. cool piano, I think. Also, there's a diminished piano. So if you play a diminished chord, like this D note right here, makes it a diminished, I guess. What happens if you do a D diminished chord? Let's see what it does. More diminished. Okay, so there's one more tone here I thought I'd point out to you. It's kind of cool. I can find it real quick. And that is, I'm not seeing it though. Oh, here it is. Ragtime. So does this sound like a ragtime piano to you? Sort of does, right? I think it sounds better than the other piano they have that's sort of like a country type of piano. Great, now I want some ice cream. Okay, so let's see. Let's go to acoustic piano, well actually pop piano. And in here you can see there's a piano called Honky Tonk. Sort of the same thing. I don't know what I like better. I think I like the other one better. I think the one that's in the expanded piano pack I like better. You can leave a comment and tell me which one you like better. Tell me what sounds you like and what tones you don't like. Some of the tones are questionable, but some of the ones that you buy are pretty cool here. Let's see. Let's go over to symphonic strings. This is another tone expansion pack, and this is pretty cool. There's a lot of things in here I like about this. Symphony strings. I'll show you this patch. This is kind of a cool little tone. You have lots of different strings to choose from. What I like is some of these things like tremolo. This is kind of cool. So you get this type of thing. Kind of a cool little effect you get there. There's some other ones in here that I like as well. Let's see. The Pizio ones are pretty good. Here's a great little Pizio one. There's lots of different Pizio ones to choose from too. Great Pizio stuff. There's another one, if I can find it, that says Slow Attack, and it's really a great patch. Maybe it's down further. Slow Attack, here it is. I think with the right reverb, right delay. That would sound really good. So these are just some of the tones that are in here. And we've added about 1,000 tones to the GM800. You can't do that. You can maybe add patches to the other synths, or you can add presets to the other synths. You can add scenes to this, but you can also add tones. Okay, that's going to be it for this video. Now, I plan on making some more videos about guitar synthesizers, but I'm going to take a break for now. The next few videos that come out are going to be about other gear, because I have a lot more gear to cover. But then I'll resume making more videos about guitar synthesizers, and I'll add it to this series. But for now, I want to thank you for watching, and for subscribing, and for liking this video. I'm Marcus Curtis from Marcus Curtis Music. Thank you.